And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Penscast recap. It is the evening of Thursday, November 30th, 2023. The Penguins were in Tampa Bay tonight, and the Penguins won. And in maybe the most unexpected third period you will ever see. We will get to the scoring in a second, but the Penguins trailed in this game 2-0, come back and win 4-2. Before we get into the scoring, I will pass over to Snail for his initial thoughts on this very crucial Penguins road victory.
Yep, we say it on here all the time. Every seems like every team they play is a quote unquote measuring stick for this Penguins squad. This is a 500 club. They're just kind of, they're hanging around the mid category right now. And this Tampa Bay Lightning team coming into this game is not the Tampa Bay of 2020, 2021. They're not the world beaters they once were. They've had their success, and with success has come the penalty of the cap, and they've needed to let players go, trade players, and slot in a more mid player, if you will, to kind of take the place of their those that team that went back to back. So with that said, it's a good opportunity for the Penguins to go in and try to get at least a point or 2 points, and man, what a game it was! Honestly, we got off doing a mailbag, and the score was already 1-0 Tampa. And I think Robbie and I were kind of talking before we got on here. It was not looking good from like the right when I got to my TV. It was a lopsided game. The Penguins looked slow. They looked tired. They looked disengaged even at times. And the Tampa Bay Lightning sort of were playing like the Globetrotters. I mean, they never really left the Penguins zone. They were humming around, just slinging the puck around, shots on net. Jari standing tall, in a high event game, and I think we can get into the theatrics after we go over the score, because boy, there was some drama to this game, and some history was made. And I got to tell you, the Tampa Bay Lightning pulled a Pittsburgh Penguins on themselves. So I'll pass it back to you, Robbie. Hell of a game. I'm fired up. That was awesome. Let's go over the score.
Yeah, you certainly can make that argument that they did pull Penguins, and here's how it happened. Again, Snell mentioned we were on a mailbag when this game started, and when it went run 1-0 in 9:06 into the first period, Steven Stamkos gets his 10th of the year from Hedman and Kucherov, and that's kind of the three-headed monster of the Tampa Bay Lightning, right there, getting the Lightning on the board and getting things going. And at this point in this period, the Penguins had a few early chances, but after that, the Penguins were just absolutely dominated by the Lightning in this first period, and it finally pays off. Tristan Jarry can only hold the fort so long, uh, and eventually Tampa gets that breakthrough that's 1-0, and then they get a power play, and believe it or not, you can score with the man advantage, and that's exactly what uh, Tampa Bay did at 12:33. This would have been right as we were wrapping up the mailbag. Tanner Jeannot gets his fifth of the year. It's a power play goal from Mikhail Shervachev and Nikita Kucherov. Again, some of the big guns showing up there for Tampa Bay. And at the end of one, I'm sorry, it's 2-0, and it's not looking good for the Penguins. But as is the case sometimes, the big guns show up when you need them the most. And into the second period, 8:43 into the second, Sidney Crosby, his 14th of the season from Jake Gensel. It's 2-1, and all of a sudden, after being caved in for almost half a game, the Penguins are suddenly back in this game. And believe it or not, right in the final minute of the second period, Drew O'Connor gets his second of the year from Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang at 19:24, and
Dude,
we
quickly on that Evgeny Malkin goal, oh my God, of the patience of Gino, and all Drew had to do was just go.
yeah.
Dude, Garrett could have scored that goal with a broomstick handle. He set it up for him so nice.
Yeah.
I thought the Stars just putting the team on their back. Sorry, I just had to chime in on
No,
that,
you're
because
good.
I
You're good.
when he slowed up and he threw Hedman off and he dishes it through his legs, and yeah, Drew O'Connor just had to put his little scoop out and say, "Here, why don't I take that?" Unbelievable stuff right there from the Penguins, the Stars, to get this game tied up.
Yeah, like you said, he barely had to do anything. They basically just Malkin put it right on the blade, and he just basically redirected it in without doing much of anything. Connor did get the rush started and got it over to Gino. No, sorry, Letang got the rush started, but heads up for Connor to do the right thing in that situation. Head down, right to the net. It takes a smart player to understand what Gino's looking for in that situation. So after 2 periods, we're 2-2. And then the third period came. And at this point, anything can happen. And when I say anything can happen, literally anything can happen. 249 into the period. The Penguins get their first lead of the game, courtesy of now. Don't be shocked. Jeff Carter, his first of the season, from Matt Nieto and Marcus Peterson. Here's that fourth line coming through when they need them. Getting just again a nice passing play. Really, Carter passes to Nieto. Nieto didn't hesitate at all. Pass it right back to Carter. A little tic-tac-toe action. Nothing Vasilevsky could really do. Carter, again, not obviously at the end of his career, but the goal-scoring touch still shows up from time to time as he buries this puck to make it 3-2. And at this point, Penguins kind of have to hold on for dear life at this point, but the refs did not call this game very tight at all. But in the third period, they do catch O'Connor for a trip, but the Penguins tighten it up on the PK and shut down the Lightning, the high-powered Lightning power play. It's 3-2. They pull their goalie, and then for the first time in Penguins history, we have a goalie goal at 18:52. The Lightning try to dump in the puck, but it goes right to Tristan Jarry, who lifts it over everyone into the empty cage, 200 feet away. It's 4-2 Penguins. That's how it ended. Maybe the two, if you looked at the Penguins roster, maybe the two most unlikely players to score a goal do so in the third period and help the Penguins escape Tampa with a 4-2 victory and all 2 points in this hockey game. So really just a incredible third period. Stuff that you couldn't have written up in a script comes to fruition here. And the Penguins get out of town and head home with 2 points in hand.
Yeah, I gotta ask, do you think that this galvanizes this team? Like, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but with the way that they played in the first half, there's like a legitimate like turning point in the game. Like it was like one of the worst games I think I'd seen in recent memory that the Penguins had played. Like when you say that they were getting dominated, they were getting dominated. And for Sid and Gino to say, "I got this. I'll get us back in this." And then the turn of the tides and have a depth guy like Carter chip one in. I think that goal with Carter chipping it in, they're like, hey, he did his job there. We got to do ours. And then Jari getting one, like that just pumped the whole bench up. I saw Nedeljkovic calling for Jari to come down the line and do the fist bump down the bench. I mean, if the Penguins can play like this, I mean, it's seriously been a tale of two teams this season with the Penguins. Sometimes they look like a lottery team, and other times they make magic happen, Robbie. I just don't. You never know what you're gonna get, and then you look at this game, and it's like going forward. Just put Jari's goal puck and put Jeff Carter's first goal of the season goal puck up on a mantle in the locker room and say, "You remember what happened in Tampa? We can do anything if this happened."
Maybe that's part of the excitement. You just never know what if you're going to get Jekyll or Hyde when the Penguins show up every night. And I guess it's not exactly fun because it's kind of gives you some heartburn from time to time. But again, maybe the days of them being like what the Rangers are this year or the Bruins were last year are maybe fully behind them. But at least it's not a team that you're getting a lottery team every night like Columbus or I can't even say Arizona because Arizona's actually playing pretty decent hockey, but Chicago. I know Chicago has Bedard. That's still going to be a chore to watch for a good part of this year. At least you're getting, you're going to get some good hockey from time to time. And the Penguins, as bad as it looked in the first period, I mean, the Stars show up and then Jeff Carter, I mean, just an absolutely massive goal. I mean, you don't know when his last goal is going to be in the NHL. At some point, it's probably going to come this year. That could very well be it tonight. If so, it's a $3 million goal. So that puck should hopefully be worth $3 million. Send it to the Hockey Hall of Fame or something. But that was just I mean, and it was like it wasn't even like a gritty deflection goal. It was a nice passing play, kind of on the counter.
No, Rupper called it a goal scorer's goal, which I think that that can be interpreted in a couple different ways, but no hesitation. You saw the primitive goal scorer mind of Jeff Carter. Just he went into just like free flow mode, and he knew exactly what to do with the puck, and he puts it in on the near post past Vasilevsky of all people, and I mean, hey, he's on the board. I think it was an 18 game goal streak that he just snapped tonight. And yeah, Jeff Carter is the official whipping boy of the Penguins this season and last season. But the dude has over 400 goals in his career. I mean, he's like, I don't know if he's like a Hall of Famer, but he was a part of those like Kings teams that won the Cups playing. I mean, he probably had an argument
Yeah.
to win the Conn Smythe in at least one of those. I think in maybe the first one and you know he was just like you could put him up for 20 30 goals a year. He's 39 years old, so yeah, he's kind of earned the whipping boy spot, but tonight he comes through with a clutch goal to put the Penguins up by one. And then of all people, Jari, who scored a goal in the minors,
Yeah.
really puts he scores the goal. He puts it's signed, sealed, delivered. But then he continues to make saves. And you hear, I don't know if you were watching either listening on radio or watching on TV. I don't know which broadcast you had up. But Getzoff and Rupper were saying, how do you compose yourself after that and make the routine saves? Like like everyone else has probably got adrenaline coursing through their veins. You know that he does tenfold, and he was able to stay composed and make the saves he needed, and he closed out the game. I even wondered if maybe he was going to have a crack at another one because they pulled the goalie again with like a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes left.
Yeah, that's a very good point because at that point, I mean, you still have a minute left in the hockey game, and they're going to keep trying. I mean, it's Tampa Bay. It's not. I mean, there's no slouch of a team at this that you're going up against. You got a team that can score goals in bunches, but hey, credit to Jari for not only the goal, which is impressive in itself, but to compose himself enough to make a couple saves after that to kind of just settle everything down because you know it's not just Jari who's pumped up at that point. You have basically the entire team's fired up and going 100 miles an hour, and you just don't want a lapse at that point. So big credit to Jari there, and really for the whole night. I mean, 2 goals in the first period. After that, he completely shuts the door from basically 13 or 7 minutes left in the first period to the end of the game. He gives them nothing. He makes 39 saves on 41 shots, save percentage of 951. And again, I mentioned it on the recap on Tuesday night. We're now looking at like almost a very solid November from Jari, but especially the last 5 games he started, he's been he's been the $5 million goaltender.
No, he really has, and like I think we've mentioned before, he leads the league in shutouts. So I think we've also mentioned this on here. It's the team at times that really kind of hangs Jari out to dry. We've talked about some losses where it's a wasted effort from Jari, and with his ups and downs, you know, you just kind of cringe because you're like, God, are we getting like when are we going to get another performance like Jari out of that? And it's the team in front of him that doesn't play with the structure that kind of helps him out back there. Not the case tonight. Maybe actually definitely the case at first, and then at the end, I was joking with you earlier. At times they looked like the '95 Devils. The Tampa Bay Lightning couldn't get anything going, and it was an impenetrable wall coming through the middle of the ice, trying to enter into the zone. But yeah, Jari has been that goaltender that Dubas envisioned when he signed. Is he not? I mean, he's been delivering performances that you know we criticize him from time to time for letting in the soft goal, but you really can't complain much about the jars we've been seeing lately.
So I just noticed this. I didn't notice this till after the game, but while we were still recording the mailbag early in the first period, before there was even any score, there was a scrum in front of Jari's crease, and Jari actually stole Brandon Hagel's stick from the scrum and then broke it over his post. So Jari being a little bit of a little shit there too, but
Yeah.
that's learned behavior from Marc Andre Fleury, I think, because that's definitely something Fleury would have done was definitely try to steal someone's stick.
Or
and
maybe
break it
the
over
old
the.
GM, maybe old Ronnie
Yeah,
Hextall had a whisper with him at one point
yeah,
and was like, "Hey, I'll teach you a trick from my day.
yeah.
You
I mean,
steal it."
again, but maybe that's just a sign of how he's feeling right now. He's feeling a little swagged up. He's feeling confident in himself. I mean, you wouldn't really expect to see that from a goalie who's down and struggling. So the confidence right now for Tristan Jarry has to be absolutely sky high. And I mean, for the Penguins, that's just fantastic.
It is. It's what this team needs right now, I think, almost more than anything. I think we had a question in a mailbag at the beginning of this week. What position would you strengthen? And I don't think we really had a good answer. It was the power play that continues to kind of suck for this squad right now. But coming into the year, if you asked me that question, I would have said goaltending with an unproven Nedeljkovic, uh, Magnus Hellberg and Jari being re-signed to that big ticket. I think that I would have said maybe goaltending should have been shored up with this team in the way that they kind of play structurally super loose and kind of chaotic at times. I would have been like, why don't we go out and spend a bunch of money on a goaltender that just is a brick wall back there and doesn't even need necessarily the structure. But right now you have two goaltenders in Nedeljkovic and Tristan Jarry who both have very fair cases as to why they got the confidence flowing. Ned has had strong performances. And like we've been talking here recently, Jari's been looking great recently. So this is a best case scenario in net for the Penguins.
Yeah, and right now you have to like that part of the game. Now the power play only got one shot tonight. Take a guess as to whether they scored or not. The answer's probably pretty obvious. That was even right after um, Tampa Bay scored too, so they had a chance to answer back, but were unable to do so, unfortunately. But other than that, tonight, um, Crosby, his goal puts him into the top 25 of goal scorers all time, which is an accomplishment in itself. Again, not the goal scorer that Ovechkin was, but again, a huge accomplishment for Crosby's. He continues. It's almost like it feels like not enough people around the league are really talking about what Crosby is doing this year. It just he's just having a just unreal season. He's up to 13 goals or 14 goals and um, 11 assists. Now he's at 25 points through how many games they played? 20 games or something like that. 21 games. So yeah, the Penguins. You got to be happy with what the Penguins are doing right now. They get out of Tampa with that W, and they get a point on Tuesday night. And now we turn our attention to Saturday and our first meeting with the Flyers rivalry game. There's gonna be a lot of hype for that one. I think we're probably going to see Tristan Jarry again, just the way he's playing. I think you kind of ride that for as long as possible now. But the Penguins, I know they're only 11, 10, and 1, but sometimes a game like this can really change a season.
Yeah, and that's what I wonder is I wonder if this game tonight can maybe galvanize this group and real like they it was a master class there. The second half of this game, like I'd mentioned, defensively, structurally, they were very strong. And you got the top players playing like top players, and you got a goaltender who's playing like the goaltender that signed the $5 million ticket. You can't waste these games. You can't waste these opportunities. I hope that there's some bulletin board material, going into the Flyers. This is a rivalry game, despite them being in I will call it a rebuild, or I don't even think it's really a retool. I think they're getting rid of their veterans. Um, they're playing a lot of prospects, so it's this team is not trying to contend for a Stanley Cup right now. You got to go in and get 2 points. I say that every single game recap when we're covering the next game coming up. It's and yeah, you just hope that this continues. And yeah, like you said, I think that this is a game that they look back on maybe when things get tough, hopefully going forward, and they talk about look how bad we were that first half of the game, and we can turn it around. And yeah, you mentioned Sid. Sid's having an unreal season. Like at the when it gets closer to the end of the season and he keeps this up, I don't know if he's the guy, but like you got to wonder if he's getting Hart consideration. for the way he's carrying this team at times. I feel like he scores the first goal for the Penguins like every other game. He gets them on the board and says, "All right, boys, I did my job. Someone else back me up here," right? I mean,
Yeah,
it seemed that way.
it definitely feels like that. I definitely get those kind of vibes sometimes from Crosby, and he's still again he just does what he does. I mean, it just the kind of see he has 25 points in 22 games now. Just yeah, he's just again he's been very good on the road too. I think 11 of his 14 goals have come on the road. Just yeah, phenomenal effort again from Sid and Gino as well. Gino, the one that was hard on himself, was saying that he needs to play better. He scores on uh, Tuesday night, and now he gets a beautiful assist. That I mean, that's just a fantastic pass. Credit to Malkin and O'Connor for just, I mean, the pass. I mean, O'Connor really had the easy job on that. Malkin's the one that made the entire play with the uh, pass on the tape of awaiting O'Connor to tie it up. And really, that's a goal at the end of the first period. So the Penguins really, if you look at Carter's goal, scored 2 goals in about 3 minutes of game time. And that's the kind of stuff that can change a game, those late goals. And Tampa Bay thinks they're going in, still holding a one goal lead. All of a sudden, it's 2-2, and then um, you come out in the third and you're a little bit flat, and the Penguins take advantage, and the Penguins walk away with a win against um, Tampa Bay. Is 10. They're now 10-10-5. Sorry, 10-9-5. How in the world this team's lost 5 games in overtime already? I don't know, but they're 10-9-5. They're fifth in the Atlantic. They're below Detroit, just above Buffalo. I mean, they're not in a playoff picture right now, or in a playoff position, I should say. So, I mean, this is a team that's fighting like the Penguins are, and we've talked all season about these games where you might have to win. They're a little bit more important when they're against a team that you might be fighting for a playoff spot with. Well, right now the Tampa Bay Lightning are one of them team, and as bad as it looked in the beginning, the Penguins are the ones that walk away with 2 very big points. So another thing to look at as the season goes along is playing teams like Tampa that we're used to them being world beaters and leading the division. They're in a wild card fight with the Penguins, so advantage Penguins tonight.
I didn't realize that that was their record. I mean, I don't follow Tampa at all. I don't follow either of the Florida teams very closely at all. I had no, how do they have that many overtimes? Like
I don't know.
they played a bunch of games already. Anyways, I didn't realize that it was that they were that close. I knew that the Tampa this wasn't the Tampa of old, but I didn't know that this was a Tampa team that's sort of trying to find their bearings. I think just as much as the Penguins are, essentially a 500 club. Um, uh, it's great, and yeah, I guess when I say measuring stick, I mean this is like the Penguins looking in the mirror a little bit, and they take the bull by the horns and they get the 2 points and they get out of Dodge. And are they playing in Philly on Saturday or is it at home?
Saturday is at home. Monday is in Philly.
Oh, it's a home and home.
Yep.
Love those.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to that. I also wanted to say shout out Drew O'Connor, 100 games in the NHL,
Yeah.
and I believe it's his birthday too.
That or it was like just the other day or something like that. I do
Okay.
remember. Yeah.
I
But
swear when he
yeah,
scored,
yeah.
someone said he got a birthday hug from Gino. And
Maybe he
he's
did. Maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Um,
25 years old, 100 games in the NHL, getting set up backdoor by Gino Malkin. Kid's got it pretty good right now.
yeah, I mean, for a guy that's undrafted and all of a sudden he has 100 games in the NHL and he's getting assists from Evgeny Malkin, it's a pretty sweet life to live.
Totally. Dude, I also wanted to bring up quick, how are you liking Drew O'Connor on that second line right now with Raquel out?
I mean, I think he's your best option by far, just because I think he has the best scoring touch of all the other options to slide in there and play that position. So yeah, I like O'Connor there, and until Raquel's ready to come back, I think I'm sticking with True O'Connor.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I would probably go as far to say as that when Raquel does get back and he gets his touches, um, I would maybe depending how these next few games go, I think that Drew O'Connor is kind of like a perfect player right now for that second line a little bit. You have the chemistry between Gino and Riley Smith. You know that they've shown that they can get it done. but Drew O'Connor is kind of like that Zach Hyman almost, where he goes and he chases the pucks down. He's kind of this. I never really realized it until this year, but Drew's kind of this big, lanky guy. He's kind of got some big reach. When I saw him set up and he went and hugged Gino after that goal, I was like, he's pretty. He's a pretty big kid, and he's kind of got that blue collar, lunch pail type of attitude to hockey, where he goes and he chases down those pucks and he's good at protecting the puck. It's just, it's a short sample size, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself here, but despite that goal, I think that line, I like how that line looks on the ice so far. The eye test, I don't know what the analytics are, and I'm sure someone out there could give me a rundown of all the analytics of why this is a dumb idea, but I'm liking how Drew O'Connor fits in on that second line until Raquel gets back.
Yeah, I absolutely would second that idea as well. So, all right. So before wrapping up here, let's take a look at the schedule here. As we said, we have a home and home coming up with the Philadelphia Flyers starting Saturday back at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh. 7:00 Eastern time start. The same situation on Monday, except we go to the eastern side of the state for a game at Wells Fargo. And then next Wednesday, hey, we're right back in Amalie down in Tampa Bay for another showdown with the Lightning. So 6 days. The Penguins get to redo this and meet up with the Lightning again before going to the Miami area for a showdown with the defending Eastern Conference champion Florida Panthers, who right now are the best team in the state of Florida. So we'll see how that goes. Now, that ends November. The Penguins, as much as frustrating as it was at times, end November 8-4-1. They get points in 9 out of 13 games in the month. Only 4 regulation losses. But I will say all those losses came back to back, so they did not have a loss and then rebound right away. They did lose all of those in pairs, but they were able to stem the bleeding after losing 2 in a row in each of those situations. So this month started with a sweep in California. They came home back to the East Coast and took care of business at home. Big wins over teams like Toronto, Vegas, Tampa Bay. Some just very good wins for the Penguins in this month, and they exit the month at 11-10-1. Very much in the mix of everything. Now December comes around, another big month, some tough games. So Snail, I think that as frustrating as it's been, the Penguins are still in the mix.
They're still in the mix, and I think what you're trying to say there is they're trending upward from October to November.
Yeah.
So the way that they're going now, you analytic nerds out there, you're trying to tell me December is going to be a better month than November. Looking forward to that. Dude, do the Penguins have the most offensive goalie tandem in the league?
I mean, if you look at the stats, you have Alex Nedeljkovic scoring in the AHL in a rehab start a couple weeks ago. And now you have Tristan Jarry netting a goal this evening. And Jarry has always been a guy. He has a good many assists already for his career. He does play the puck generally pretty well. He is active, so it's not surprising. So, and he has had opportunities before. So, I mean, the Penguins have a very offensive goaltending tandem for sure.
Ned's got 2 in the minors in the AHL, and Jarry has 1.
Jarry has 1 in the minors too. Yeah. So this is technically Jarry's second professional goal. So
that's a total that's 4 combined goals by these goalies.
I think I read that Nedeljkovic actually had 1 in the ECHL level right after he was drafted, before he really made any kind of professional impact. So he might even have 3 professional goals, which is, I mean, that's going to be close to a record for goaltenders on one NHL team to have that many professional goals.
How many goals? I mean, like, other than if you had, did Ron Hextall and Patty Waugh ever play on the same team? Other than that,
no. Yeah. No.
So it's like, I think that unless it's guys like that, or there's some goalie sniper down in the ECHL somewhere that's just been tallying goals for for a decade. I think that you'd have to say that the Penguins have a. They maybe try him out. Maybe incorporate that into the power play. I don't know, but anyways,
Yeah, yeah. So
that's
yeah,
impressive.
I just checked here real quick. The Penguins have another 13 games on the schedule for November or December. Sorry. So if they go just theoretically go 9-4 in one of them games, we're talking about a much different situation, even than we are right now. So fingers crossed we get December started on Saturday. But that's about all I got. Snell, you got anything else before we wrap this up?
Nope, just hell of a game. We witnessed history tonight. That's always awesome. And two games against the Flyers. I mean, that's it coming up on this weekend. That's some dude. That's always a fun game to watch. Whether the teams are bad or good, the teams always show up for that one. Some Pennsylvania rivalry to get going on a Saturday night. That's a good time.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll be back on Saturday for a recap of that game. As always, Mailbag Part 2 will be coming out as well on Friday. So check that out. We answer the rest of your questions from this week. And as always, thanks for tuning in. You can find us in podcast version wherever you get your podcast. If you prefer looking at our faces, which I don't know what's wrong with you if that's the choice. Well, Garrett's not here, so if it's just me and Snell, you're probably okay. You can find us on YouTube, the Skating Penguin Network on YouTube. So that's all I got. That's all Snell's got. Penguins win 4-2 in Tampa Bay. Jeff Carter scores. Tristan Jarry, the first goalie goal in Penguins history. The Penguins are 11-10-1 after 2 months of play. They are back in action on Saturday night, and we will talk to you then.